Welcome to the Connect Show rerun. Today we're going to explore a few of our favorite guests from the past year. And before we get there, I want to tell you about the word of the year. Resolutions are so last year, so join us on December 20th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Celebration Center for the word of the year. Kim Knock of Opportunities Knocking will be guiding you through the process so that you can define a word that will help you make 2024 the best that it can possibly be. Our first guest is Samantha Bushman from WisconsinCheesePlease.com, and she is a aficionado of everything Wisconsin. And as she travels through the countryside to bring us the best in cheese curds, she has some interesting stories about her adventures. So let's get started.
So today I want to introduce Sam Bushman, also known as Wisconsin Cheese Queen. Began traveling throughout Wisconsin looking for the best cheese curds. These days she's traveling all over the U.S. with her pup looking for good food and the best hiking trails. She is leaving for her next trip on September 1st.
Sam thinks a lot of people suffer from imposter syndrome, herself included. She has been trying to remind herself to just ask for things when it comes to her business. She pitched a hefty deal that she never thought would happen, but they ended up saying yes. Had she not asked, she would have not have gotten it. Her one tip, just go for it.
That's awesome. Well, welcome Samantha to the show. Referring back to the question, what do you think is harder? Asking for what you want for your business from another company, or partner to help your business grow, or finding a way to do it yourself? And
I think they're both pretty hard.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's definitely asking for help from another company. I kind of mentioned that, and when I said asking for, the hefty deal, I don't consider myself a salesperson by any means. I've always been like, no, thank you. But doing what I do now, kind of consulting for social media and whatnot, that's all I have to do is pitch and ask for help. And there's a lot of things that I've learned throughout the past couple of years that I definitely could have done better or faster or easier had I just asked for some help.
Yeah.
What's one thing you wish you asked for sooner?
There's a lot of things. In terms of like the business side of things now, like I create, contracts with the people or the companies that I work with, and photo licensings and things of that nature. I didn't know about any of that. I was just kind of figuring it out as I went, and I realized throughout the process that there were things that I was doing wrong, and I wish I would have asked for help in the beginning to sit down with somebody and really figure out what that looks like instead of trying to just Google my way through it. But lesson learned.
Google does everything right,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
they? I mean, what is one person that you want to do a cheese curd review with?
Charlie Barons, Manitowoc Minute, Charlie Barons. He follows me on Instagram. We've already gone back and forth, but it just hasn't happened yet. So fingers crossed that one day that.
What about Charlie makes you want to do?
I mean, he's just like the epitome of Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's more Wisconsin than eating cheese curds?
Right.
So, and he's hilarious, and I just think it would be a good time.
Could you imagine throwing some comedy in the cheese pull? I don't even know how.
I'm sure he would make it just the most entertaining thing. So
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure.
a big
Well, there you go,
That's a
Charlie.
Good answer.
Put your
That is a good
comments.
answer. Someone tag him.
So, yeah,
Someone
tag him in here.
I
Charlie
tag
can
him all the
accept
time.
it on
Trust
there.
me.
So, and then what makes a good cheese curd? And what do you look for? And before we get into that, tell me some of the backstory.
Sure.
Tell me, like, how did this begin?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right?
It's awesome.
So when COVID hit, I was working for a restaurant franchise out of Milwaukee and in human resources. They basically laid off everybody in the office, so I was unemployed. But I still wanted to figure out a way to continue to help small businesses, restaurants specifically, because that was kind of where I was at that point. So I decided once a week I was going to eat out and I was going to rate cheese curds, and I started posting videos on YouTube. It was very on a whim. There was no thought behind it by any means, but it's just kind of spiraled since then. And now I work with different restaurants. I
travel, all over the state of Wisconsin, work with different like tourism boards and chamber of commerces and things of that nature to promote not only cheese curds, but just their towns and cities as a whole.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Like a cheese curd brought you a total
It's
life-changing
crazy.
moment,
It's
right?
crazy, yeah.
That's insane.
I give you a ton of credit because one of the hard things to do is create content for people. And that's the thing that can help them and go, I
Right.
just want to do something nice for you and share. You've put so much work into this, I want to help share it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
exactly.
So what makes a good cheese curd?
So
what do you look for?
we rate for cheese, breading, sauce, and then overall score. So they get 4 different ratings on a scale from 1 to 10. So we want it to be a good cheese. It's got to have a good melt, good cheese pull consistency. Good bread to cheese ratio, not too greasy. I like them crispy, so no mushy cheese curds around here. And then sauce is important too. That can make or break a cheese curd. Ranch is typically my go-to, but I love any like unique sauce, the house sauces and things like that restaurants come up with. So those usually get the higher ratings.
Do you have like an absolute favorite? Or is that like favoring a child?
It's been hard, honestly, as I've hit 250 cheese curds this last weekend.
Wow.
So it's been difficult to really like put them in order. I have a huge list on my website, a Excel spreadsheet essentially with all of the ratings and all the different places that I've gone to. But it's been hard. My favorite right now is Bonfire Grill in Madison. They've got Chipotle Ranch that they serve it with, and it was just like the perfect cheese curd. In the Milwaukee area, I love Dairyland in the 3rd Street Market Hall.
Oh, they're fabulous.
They're up there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have an event or an offer you'd like to share with our audience?
Just follow along. Like you mentioned, I'm leaving for a RV trip with my dog September 1st for God knows how long, just traveling through the U.S. So just following along and giving me suggestions for places to go and places to eat. That's all I can hope for.
Tell Samantha where the cheese curds are
Yes.
at throughout the United States. She needs
Yeah.
help because some states are going to be like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I've been there.
What is a cheese
It's
curd?
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad moment. We
not.
do have a page so that you can connect with Samantha. It is theconnectshow.com/Samantha Bushman. Thank you so much for joining us
you for
today.
having me.
I look forward to watching your upcoming trip. So
Thank
It's
you.
gonna be exciting.
It is.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Remember to join us for the Word of the Year, December 20th with Kim Knock, 3 to 6 p.m. at the Celebration Center.
So I have Beautiful Roots. Beautiful Roots is a natural organic hair care company. I started formulating my own hair care products about 7 years ago because I had frustrations with finding products that would actually work for my hair. Fast forward, going from 3 jobs to no job led me to start my own line of natural and organic hair care products. So Beautiful Roots was born. The collective was a great opportunity for me just to dip my toe into what they call collaborative economics. And in doing so, I am making tons of connections. The perks of being here are absolutely fantastic. I get to bounce ideas off of other like minded people and also other entrepreneurs. We go through ups and downs and trials and tribulations. So it's nice to get some feedback and also some great advice. So it is definitely working for me. Come join me at the Collective in the Bayshore Mall and come see what collaborative economics is really all about.
When I think about improving business, I think about relationships. That's the other thing that comes up besides messing up. And sometimes we do mess up our relationships. That's okay. One of the keys to good relationships in both our business and in our personal lives is being intentional about our communication. And if you're anything like me, you replay the messy conversations over and over in your head, and you wonder how you can let go of that drama and create the kind of interpersonal dynamic that you envision for your family or for your team. A simple tip is to begin conversation getting clear with yourself about what you're looking for from that interaction. So that's setting the intention in a conversation. And setting that intention, especially when you're looking to maybe offer or receive feedback from someone you care about at home or a team member at work, that can set you up for a successful interaction that leaves all parties feeling seen, heard, and understood. And that's really what we all want. This is especially true when engaging with teen or young adult family members or staff. I created a free guide to help parents set intentions and find new ways to connect with their teenagers, because the last thing you want while building your business is to have to deal with extra drama from your teens at home. So you can download my Teen Talk Tactics conversation starting guide at my website, sarahdeacon.com/tactics.
Let's welcome our first guest, Victoria Thayer. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. It was a pleasure coming.
Sure.
Yes.
Born in Venezuela with Ecuadorian heritage, Vicky Thayer grew up in a world vastly different from her current reality. Raised by a single mother, her family's financial circumstances seemed destined to follow a familiar path. Her mother and grandmother worked as maids, but Victoria was determined to change the trajectory of her family's future.
The experience she gained in the field fueled Victoria's desire to establish her own CPA firm and collaborate with small and medium-sized business owners. In 2023, she launched Novi CPA, offering relationship-based outsourced accounting and tax services to entrepreneurs. Why do I get the sentences that have 5-syllable words, every single one of them? In addition to her professional endeavors, Victoria actively contributes to various organizations.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving that amazing introduction. Again, thank you.
Sure.
Yes.
Let's revert back to the question of the day for you.
Yes.
So cold calling or relationship building?
Oh, relationship building, 100%, yes. And
So why? Tell me why.
so for me, I think that financial services, when we think about numbers and the economy for families, that is something that is very close to their heart. It means a lot. It means stability. They don't want to just do it with a person that doesn't really care, that for them, they're just like a transaction, one more that they have to do business with. It's almost like a doctor. You want to trust them. You want to know that they're watching out for you for your best interest. So in order to gain that trust, you need to build on that relationship. You need to be able to create that connection with them. And they need to be comfortable about it, because you're seeing their whole picture. Because the services that I provide is not only about their businesses, but also about their individual aspect too, because they are a whole. We cannot just look at the business without looking at their financial situation as an individual, as in a family. So they're out there vulnerable. They're saying hey, this is my cash flow. I don't know if I will make it next month. So in order for them to come to you and say that, they need to be able to have that trust and feel that there's a safe space in here. And I'm here not to judge, but to help you get to a better spot. So yeah, definitely relationship.
I think that last point is so critical in terms of no judgment and really safe. I remember I had one accounting firm that I worked with who I had no connection with, none whatsoever. And then the next one, it took a little while, and there were, finally I did get to the point, and Charlene knows me, I'm pretty bold. I'm usually not afraid to ask things, but when it comes to my money and what I think I know or don't know, especially things I don't know about accounting and finance, I took accounting in college, I got an A, and I hated every moment of it. And I never understood a bit of it, but I got an A. I don't know how, but being in that safe space was so critical for me to be able to go to my accountant and say, okay, I need some time with you because I don't understand this, and this.
Absolutely, and something else that I'm seeing too is with startup businesses. Again, they don't know what they don't know, like you're saying, and sometimes they feel that they're going to be judged if they ask a question that they're supposed to know. Hey, I didn't register for sales tax. Oops, am I? They don't want to look like they're like silly. And that's about creating the safe space. Like, no, this is all new to you. You're supposed to have all these questions. So yes, to your point, and I'm glad you found one that now you have that connection with. Yeah. Yes.
So tell us, Victoria, what are your tips for entrepreneurs to set up their business accounting as a startup business? What are your hot tips?
So some of my hot tips is when you decide to start your own business, first of all, separate those accounts. Do not commingle the personal with the business because it gets like very messed up, and then it is very hard for your accountant and for yourself to be able to tell which one is which. Also from a legal standpoint too, it is better to keep everything separate. So that's the first thing. Even if you're a solopreneur and you're not creating a different entity like an LLC, you can be just like a freelancer. It is a good habit to go and open a different personal account that you're only going to use for the business. The accounting becomes like more easy peasy because then everything that's coming in and everything that's coming out, you know that it is for the business. So that's like the first thing. The second thing is that you need to use an accounting software. Now, accounting software may sound too fancy and you're like, oh, but I'm just a freelancer. I'm just doing this like in the side. That's okay. Like an accounting software can be something like Wave, for example. Wave is a great resource for entrepreneurs that are just starting. It's free. You can connect your bank accounts. Everything comes into it. You just have to like categorize the transactions, so it's very, very easy to learn. And again, it is better than having everything in a paper because again, you never know, it gets misplaced or something like that. So again, like trying to think about like a way to organize your accounting. Even if you're a solopreneur, it is very important when you are like preparing your taxes and as well for making informed decisions throughout your entrepreneurship journey. So that would be tip number 2. Like if you're more robust though, I will highly suggest QuickBooks Online. That offers like a robust way of like reports and more tools that you can benefit from. I would say the third tip that you need to think about is like thinking that every year can be different than the prior. So not because you were like a sole proprietor on prior year means that this is the best strategy for this year. So whoever you're working with for your tax accountant, bring up these questions. Like, am I still good as a sole proprietor or should I now become an S corporation? Because every year will change. So again, like thinking that no, because you did something last year, it's not gonna change. No, we need to look again at things every year. I guess it will be the fourth tip. Yeah, it will be that to look into pass-through entity. Pass-through entity a structure for like the state level can allow you to save taxes in the state level again because we have like limitations about how much state taxes you can deduct in an individual level. That is another great thing to look at. Are you taking advantage of those? And again, just opening up the conversations with your tax preparer, your accountant. You know, that's the safe space where you're like, okay, this is what's going on. This is like, let's look at it. What is like the best course of action for the entire year? And another thing that I always recommend is like, let's be proactive about it. Let's treat the patient while it's sick instead of being like, oh, it's the end of the year, here's my shoebox, and it already happened. So then it's like, man, at that point, it's like an autopsy. Like, it's already dead. There's nothing for the accountant to do. It's like, oh, well, I wish we had this conversation earlier. So again, be proactive, ask questions, and again, like, ideally, your accountant should be the one, like, initiating these conversations, but if not, you can take the first step and open up those conversations. Yeah.
So you're not passionate about this at all, are you?
Oh, no, I find it pretty boring.
I mean, because so many people do, like, they get in business to have a paycheck, to make money, and it's like, you are like the epitome of what makes you different in an industry where there's so many people out there that are just like, I just do the numbers.
Just give me the shoebox. No.
And I think it's a great point that you said that the accountant should be bringing up some of this stuff, because when you said, should I be a this, should I be a sole proprietor, should I be an S Corp, I didn't even know about S Corp until my accountant mentioned it. I'm like, you're the expert here. Explain it in like third grade language and see if it'll make sense to me, because, granted I got a master's degree, but on accounting, I need third grade level. I need it broken down to the third grade level.
And to your point, you don't know. Right. So,
yeah.
Don't even get me started on that one with my business.
I know,
but-
and she's so passionate about it all, even the software. Like, oh, there's this great stuff. Like,
Yeah.
QuickBooks. In fact, I had a meeting with my accountant recently, and I'm like, okay, explain to me what you're doing in here, because I think I should know at least a little bit of what's going on in here.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So yeah. No. We need to be proactive about it. Yes, definitely.
So will switching from an LLC to an S corp save you money? Like what's the?
It will depend. So we have to look at your specific situations. There will be like different moving parts into it that your accountant can walk you through. But after certain levels, moving from a sole proprietor, like a Schedule C in your 1040, to an S corporation can save you taxes because you're not paying payroll taxes, self-employment tax, and the entire net income. But again, we're looking at the entire kind of like your whole tax situation. But we need to look at that. It's something that like it's worth discussing with your accountant. Yes, because it's possible that you can save a lot of money that way. Yes.
And I actually did that a couple of years ago, switched from an
Yes.
LLC to an S corp. So
Yeah.
It's very confusing at first. I was like, whatever, you get it. But he's like, it's going to save you this much money. Okay, do it.
Yeah.
Then let's do it. So, and you had talked about the pass-through entity. In our notes, it said PTE. I'm like, PTE? What on earth is PTE?
Is that PTE?
How does that save money?
Yes, so the pass-through entity election is an election that they opened up in the state level so that, for example, in your case, your S corporation can elect to be paying taxes in the entity level instead of you as an individual. So what that allows is that then those taxes that you're paying for Wisconsin, for example, become a deduction for the federal. Because otherwise, if you're paying in your individual level, remember, like we have the SALT limits. The SALT limits are like the state limitation that we have for like when we do like a Schedule A, which is like the itemized deductions. We have a max of 10,000, which almost everyone hits that with just normal withholdings and paying like the real estate taxes. So that allows you to take a benefit of the taxes that you're paying the state level to Wisconsin. Yeah. So something to look into it.
I'm going to have to ask and see if my business is set up as a PTE.
Yeah. Make the election, yeah.
So what is the one tip you can give us that you know will change our business, and why would a business implement that?
I would say that the tip number one will be, and it may not really be accounting related, but kind of is. It is about finding the right team. And by right team, I mean like mentors too. So that's also why we outsource an accountant or like a marketing firm or a leadership coach, is because again, like we are trying to have that extensions of ourselves because time is limited. I wish I could learn everything about CRMs and all of that marketing strategies, but that's not I'm also like very like a third grader with all that stuff. So, so again, like finding those mentors that can tell you and share their experiences and can really help you move forward. So I think that that's one of my main tips, is like finding those mentors out there. And people are so generous with their time and their experience that, you know, they're out there, go network, connect, create those relationships. Yes.
so much on relationship building.
It is.
Yes.
You know, and those relationships upward are so critical, whether you're in a large business, you know, a large corporation, in a medium-sized business. You know, look at what other businesses, you know, are doing. Someone who's been around the block a few times, or even somebody that's new. You know, somebody who might have a fresh perspective that might give you fresh eyes on what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right, learning great accounting tips from Relationship Accountant is the way to go. Thank you for joining us today, Victoria. Do you have an offer or an event or anything you'd like to share with the audience today?
We don't have any event coming up, but we are accepting new clients. So if you have issues with accounting or taxes, feel free to reach out, and I love to connect. Find me on LinkedIn, and I always I'm there sharing a lot of tips and information. So yes.
Okay. And we also have a page for Victoria on our website, on the Connect Show website. So if you go to theconnectshow.com/Victoria Thayer, Thayer. Thanks so much.
Ooh.